Good morning and welcome back everyone to our daily Facebook posts, where I've been going through the Eightfold Path and seeing how we can bring that to bear on our lives, in particular at this time on our lives in terms of the pandemic. And currently we find ourselves in the wisdom section of the Eightfold Path with the two path factors of wise view and wise intention. And today, in terms of wise view, or just seeing things clearly, there's a very interesting and important view or clarity to have about how this practice unfolds. And that is that it very lawfully unfolds, and our lives lawfully unfold, given the content of our mind, our thoughts, the words we speak, and the actions that we do. Different thoughts, different words, different actions will change the trajectory of our lives. They just very lawfully will. It's not, it's just natural. And the Buddha talked about this actually a lot. And so on one level, we are every moment, depending on what thoughts are going through our minds, what words we're speaking, what actions we're taking, who we're keeping the company of, all these things. In every moment, we are actually the architects of our future. Very lawfully. And so actually remembering that and knowing that, keeping that in mind, keeping that view or that truth present with us will help us choose the thoughts, the words, the actions, the people we spend time with. It will help us choose those which will direct our trajectory of our lives and our unfoldings in a skillful way, in a path that leads more towards happiness and less towards suffering. So that is so. That is the wisdom piece of that, or the clarity, the wise view of that. But whenever we talk about wisdom in these teachings, we also have to talk about compassion. Because while everything I just said is so and true, we have this thing called our own karma unfolding. And we have a myriad of other conditions coming in and impacting and influencing our lives, and impacting and influencing the thoughts in our mind, the words that we say, the actions that we take. And so, while almost simplistically we can say, oh, I just have to think this, say this, and do that, and then I'll just move towards enlightenment. While that technically is so, that's true, what's also true is that, and this is the compassion piece, we actually don't have that degree of control. We can't just at any moment flip a switch and say, I want to do this, not do this. I want this to happen, that not to happen. That's actually not within our realm of control. It's not possible in this world that we live in. And one really good and I think accessible example of this is you go to do your formal practice and you have this strong intention. Let me be present. This is what I'm cultivating here. Yeah, that's very clear. And yet we don't stay present through the whole sitting period or formal meditation period, do we? No, even though there is that view that knows, oh, if I stay present, this is going to be good for my trajectory towards happiness. And we and we intend to do so, we actually put in the wise effort to do that, and yet causes and conditions are going to play out, our karma is going to unfold, and at times the attention wanders away. And so this is interesting, I don't know if it's a paradox, but it's interesting that there is this truth of that we are the architects of our future every moment, and yet we can't completely govern that. We can't completely control that trajectory. And wow, and that takes a lot of kindness, a lot of patience, a lot of care to keep going in a realm where we're actually not totally in control. We know what we need to do. The seeing is clear, and yet sometimes we can't always do it. And can we have infinite patience and kindness for ourselves and others as we deal with ourselves and the unfolding of ourselves and our lives in this realm where we aren't totally in control. So let's go ahead now and enter into some formal practice and actually experience for ourselves what I just said. Because again, it's very clear to see. So just coming into whatever posture you're going to take during this formal practice. Could be standing, could be lying down. I think it's helpful not just to equate the word sitting with formal practice. Not everyone sits. Walking, standing, lying down. And it can be helpful at the beginning of a formal practice period to bring about this intention, let it come fully and clearly into mind. What I'm doing right now is cultivating, or one thing I'm doing is cultivating, strengthening the mind's ability to stay in the present moment. And this intention, wise intention, second path factor, is supported by, or it actually arises from, the wise view that knows that it is this present moment and it is the mindfulness that's cultivated in this present moment that is supportive of the Eightfold Path unfolding and is supportive of our trajectory of our life to move towards happiness and away from suffering. So based on that view, that wise view, we form the intention, wise intention, to be present. Settling into the body, feeling the body. Letting the attention connect with the sensations of body. As an anchor, as a tether for the attention to the present moment. Being mindful, body sensations in this posture feel like this. Clearly knowing the sensations as they occur. Sampajanya, clearly knowing. Clearly knowing the sensations of breath as the body breathes in and out. Mindfulness of breathing. And even though the wisdom may be clear, that knows this present moment is the genesis of all goodness in this world, being connected to the present moment. And even though the intention may be clear, to stay present, to keep the attention connected to the sensations of body sitting and body breathing. Even though both of those may be clear and present, we cannot dictate what happens the next moment. And if the conditions are supportive for it, the attention will wander off. Now, based on this intention to be present, and based on the momentum of past moments of mindfulness, mindfulness will arise and bring the attention back to the present moment. And we rejoice. We appreciate that we're back home, not wandering in the mind-made world. We soften and relax the body, letting go of any tension and agitation that arose during our traversing of the mind-made world. And we relax our way into contact with the sensations of body and breath. Bringing to bear wise view and wise intention on what we're doing. And knowing we're not completely in control. Such a fine line, such a dance. And bringing to bear patience and perseverance on the process. As always, our formal practice is it's a microcosm for our whole life. And this truth of knowing what's important to do and yet not having complete control over manifesting that, of course, is true for all of our life, not just in our formal practice. And one can see that at play right now with the pandemic. We know what we need to do, or as best as we know, the social distancing, the cleanliness of washing and not touching the face, and and perhaps wearing masks, etc. All the things that we know are helpful towards this end goal that we want. And yet we do that the best as we can, and we have this thing called this virus that we don't have complete control over. And it plays out the way it does. And I think that can be a bit, some of the fear that arises for people at this time. And I've mentioned on these posts before, we're really faced with this truth of not being fully in control. So this is a kind of somewhat subtle, yet very important place of practice. And we'll revisit it again next time, just to maybe let it sink in a little bit more. And so I wish you well today. I wish you the clarity of knowing, of your heart and mind knowing what's good for it and what's going to help it be happy. And I wish you infinite patience and kindness with yourself as you see the unfolding of your life during the day, where perhaps that doesn't exactly play out the way you would want it to. Such an important place of practice. So be well, and we'll see you next time. Bye.